Coming up on the Extra Ember, I finally give you my NFL report card for the 2024 free agency period. I'm going through each team. Who got an A? Who got an F? I know specifically a team that got an F. All of that and more. This is the Extra Ember with the enforcer, Chris Mercer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Extra Ember. I am your host, the enforcer, Chris Mercer. I am back with another episode of the Extra Ember, my first solo Extra Ember of 2023. I am extremely excited to finally get this one out. I wanted to do this during NFL. They're like halfway through this year. Wasn't able to really do it before the playoffs. Finally, I have some time to do this. If you are new, wherever you get your podcast from, make sure you like, subscribe on our YouTube as well. Appreciate you joining me. We're going to go through each division of the NFL. We're going to start in the AFC, work our way through each of those teams, giving you a grade on each particular move. So, I am excited to finally get this one in. I've been waiting a minute. So, without any further ado, let's get into this. We'll start with the AFC East. That will start with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills last year fell in the divisional round of the playoffs. They were a team that was very close of conquering their demons last year. They finished their season 11-6. They went on a amazing run to get them back into playoff, contention, because it was 6-6 when they lost to Philadelphia. They were sitting there wondering, oh, this is going to be a lost year. Is this going to be a year where the Bills are going to miss the playoffs due to, how stacked the AFC was this year, but inevitably, were they going to miss it out due to their own incompetence, especially defensively, and the lapses on the offensive side of the ball? But they came back and they won their last few games. Going to finish their year at 11-6. They go on an insane 5-game win streak to end the season, including knocking off the eventual Super Bowl champs. Fell in the divisional round to those said Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. This offseason, they're entering with some big question marks. We're able to re-sign guys like Taylor Rapp. Able to re-sign Taylor Rapp, able to re-sign Daquan Jones, Nicholas Morrow, able to come back. Free agent acquisitions is Mitchell Trubisky, the backup of the Steelers. He performed really valiantly in his time in Pittsburgh, especially late game. Probably the reason why the Steelers were able to sneak into the playoffs. Curtis Samuel being their one of their big prize free agents, signing a 3-year deal, worth $30 million. And offensive tackle Deion Dawkins coming over as he was, coming over as that was an extension to for the Buffalo Bills. So overall, again, did the necessary moves. They definitely lost some guys that I will talk to in a little bit, but overall, not terrible. But they absolutely have to figure out a way to get it done. Hopefully they can restructure some money with Von Miller, because last year he was not worth that type of money. So I'm excited to see what they do, man. This will be a grade of C. Okay. The Miami Dolphins, they had an 11-6 season as well. Due to tiebreakers, they missed the playoffs due to their head-to-head, as they finished the same record as the Buffalo Bills, lost in that final game of the year. The Dolphins were able to make the playoffs, however, fall in the wild card to the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So offseason, they were able to re-sign Braxton Berrios. They were able to get Jonnu Smith at tight end, offensive tackle Isaiah Wynn, the offensive lineman Isaiah Wynn, offensive tackle Jack Driscoll, able to sign Shaq Barrett, another notable name, Kendall Fuller, and former Bill Jordan Pryor, Jordan Poyer, I'm stumbling over my words. But they're able to re-sign a guy like Jordan Poyer. I do like what they did in terms of honing in really on the defensive side of the ball, because offensively it's not necessarily their main issue. The biggest thing is, next one, Tua needs to stay healthy, and he was that last year, but he really has to develop into his own as a quarterback, and especially with a contract year coming up for him. This is the pivotal time to see what you have in Tua Tagovailoa, although it really doesn't feel like he's had much of a shot, but that's the way the NFL works. I give this also a C.
Okay.
New England Patriots, one of the teams that, honestly, if I can be real, the New England Patriots are a team that is entering uncharted and untreaded waters. For the first time in well over 20 years, Bill Belichick is not their head coach. They brought in Gerard Mayo as their new head coach. They've pretty much been grooming him for the last few years. I do like the direction that they're going in terms of grooming in the next guy for what Belichick has meant, and obviously going to hone it within was absolutely the right call. This offseason for them feels like they are preparing for whatever quarterback falls to them at the 3rd overall pick. One, they're getting Jacoby Brissett to back them up with Mac Jones traded away, able to get an Antonio Gibson from Washington, a Kendrick Bourne, a KJ Osborne, able to re-sign a Hunter Henry, gotten a Austin Hooper over here as well. Defensively, not really any noticeable news. Kyle Duggar is pretty much the only really big name. He was franchise tagged. So again, nothing too terrible, but their grade really is dependent on what they do in the draft. So at this point, I'll give them a C.
Okay.
Definitely going to come back to it if I can. We go to the final team in the AFC East, the New York Jets. The Jets, awful year for them.
Shameful display!
For the Patriots, it was pretty much the end of an era. One of the worst records under Bill Belichick. The Jets were complete opposite. Had all the expectations in the world to be a playoff caliber team, some say a Super Bowl caliber team, and fell drastically short. That absolutely was, their playoff hopes were pretty much killed after the first few snaps of the year, with Aaron Rodgers going down with the torn Achilles.
There's a man down.
Pretty much derailed him for the rest of the year. I mean, although they were like, oh man, Aaron Rodgers could come back and all that, but let's be real, the season's kind of over for him. But the Jets, they got a really solid backup in Tyrod Taylor, which pretty much writes the end of the wall for Zach Wilson. Able to pick up Mike Williams, and I feel for him considering the fact that, the turf that he's going to be playing on. Able to re-sign a guy like Greg Zuerlein. Nothing outstanding, something that sticks out at you. But the notable move is getting Morgan Moses over from Baltimore. I like that move. Getting O-line protection is huge. Tyron Smith is also a decent deal as well. Probably an overpayment considering the fact of his age. But I like the potential of what the Jets can be. I am interested to see what they do draft time. Continue to build on the line, build in the trenches, because that's huge. And it all hinges on the shoulders, I really should say leg of Aaron Rodgers. Because if he can get back to what we know he can be, and that's really questionable considering the fact of where he is age-wise, I think you'll be able to be fine. I don't think you're contending with the division, but I think you're fine. But the fact that you got line help does boost your grade a little bit. I'll give it a C+.
All right.
Baltimore, as we switch over to the AFC North, couldn't have asked for a better year until you got to the AFC Championship game. This offseason, you were able to pick up a Justin Mbuke, able to re-sign him on a 4-year, $98 million deal, $75.5 million guaranteed. Able to get Josh Jackson. They, of course, traded away Moses Brown away. They re-signed Nelson Aguilar. They were able to sign Nelson Aguilar, I should say, coming over from New England. Able to also bring back Josh Johnson, bringing him back into the fold. He was the quarterback there in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But the big news, and can't dance around it, is Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry joining the league MVP makes that read option absolutely dangerous, and considering the fact that you can't hit tackle anymore, as I'm recording this, after they struck that rule down. This is huge. Like, Baltimore is loading up for that Super Bowl run. Obviously, re-signing Lamar last year. They are just, reloading in a serious way. They cut OBJ. I thought they would have gave him another, see out that contract. I don't think he was terrible. Again, coming back from that torn ACL. But I do like that offseason. Derrick Henry signing definitely, awakens you a little bit. I like what they did. I'll give this a solid B+.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Let's go Cincinnati. This offseason hasn't really gone this well. Losing a Joe Mixon. Potentially T. Higgins wants the role. You replace Mixon with Zach Moss, which is a significantly worse option. You get Mike Gesicki, which I think is okay. Trent Brown is all right. Sheldon Rankins. Von Bell is okay. Stone coming over from Baltimore is all right. I just don't like the moves. Like, I really don't. Like, it's very important that you keep T. Higgins. If you do trade a T. Higgins away, you better be getting a very good receiver in there. Like, if you're going to go deep and go get a guy like Justin Jefferson, to reunite him with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, like, you need to make that type of a move, because it feels like you are putting all the eggs in the basket of Joe Burrow and saying, hey, we're not going to give you that good of a running game. I mean, I get it. Money is money, but, you kind of just need to do that, because they're going to have to find a way to either pay Higgins and Chase, or they're going to have to trade them. And, that's what happens when you get, very good receivers, drafted, and, because they drafted Chase, they drafted Higgins, drafted Tyler Boyd for the longest time. That was like one of the best 3 receiver trios in a while. So they got to find a way to keep T. Higgins. Right now, I give this a C-. I can't go higher than that.
Okay.
Again, does change after draft time, because obviously that's where really the bulk of trades will come from. But the Cleveland Browns are on the docket next. Your future excites me greatly. Considering the fact of all the injuries that they had last year, unlike the Bengals, when, Joe Burrow went down, it felt like they lost all their momentum in the world. You could clearly see that they missed them. Cleveland lost Deshaun Watson at one point, and with the play of, Joe Flacco late in the year, they were very much kept afloat, and it feels like they are loading up to seriously make a run at this division. They were able to get a Jerry Jeudy away from Denver. They got a Jameis Winston, signing him away from the Saints. Tyler Huntley, him coming over from Baltimore, serving as the backup. It's going to be interesting who wins that backup battle between Jameis and Tyler Huntley. Naheem Hines is a really good pickup as well. Za'Darius Smith on the defense. Shelby Harris re-signing. Devin Bush, former first rounder of the Steelers. Jordan Hicks, former Eagle. Rodney McLeod also re-signing to them as well. Cade York is staying as well. I like what they're doing here. I like what they're building in Cleveland. I am hopeful that Chubb returns to form as well, and Deshaun Watson can even grab a slither of what he was in Houston. Man, this is a dark horse for a Super Bowl. I'd be surprised, but grade B.
Nice.
Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have an offseason to truly, assert themselves in free agency, which isn't like the Steelers. They were very much aggressive this time, picking up a Russell Wilson from Denver, picking up a Justin Fields in a trade with Chicago, picking up a Van Jefferson is okay. They just signed Cordell Patterson after recording of this video. They grabbed a Patrick Queen. Dante Jackson's coming over, and Deontay Johnson is going to Carolina. Deshaun Elliott is all right of a pickup. But honestly, the fact that they made the move to get rid of Pickett is interesting. And Russell Wilson brings them veteran stability, but I think it'll be a matter of time before Fields inevitably starts over him. Like, it will happen. And considering the fact that it's on a 1-year rental, like, this is, this isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think y'all are division contenders, but you do have some pieces. The fact you're aggressive, I'll go a C+.
Okay.
Kind of generous today. Well, at least until now. The AFC South. And the winner of it last year was the Houston Texans. They were a team that took the world by surprise. They were a squad that had so many feel-good stories. D'Amico Ryans did some great work there. Will Anderson did some great work out there as well, especially defensively. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Having a CJ Stroud look like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in year one. And, went toe-to-toe with Baltimore. I mean, they had some flaws, but, they showed that they have the potential to be one of the best squads in the NFL. And this offseason, they have been very active. They've picked up a Joe Mixon from Cincinnati. They re-signed a Noah Brown, who was big for them last year, especially when Tank Dell went out. Dalton Schultz is re-signed as well, able to build up the offensive line with Charlie Heck, able to sign guys like a Daniil Hunter away from Minnesota, able to get a CJ Henderson, a former first-rounder, another first-rounder, and Jeff Okudah. Desmond King is a good re-signing for them as well. Akayivi Fairbairn is coming back as well. I love what they're going to do for for the future of this squad. I am hopeful that Houston can take that step that they never did with Deshaun and really keep, this core around for a long time. Continue to build around it. Well, thanks a lot, Texans, for making me have to go back in here and edit it. I recorded that a couple of weeks ago. Exactly 2 weeks ago. Literally the next day, the news comes out about Stephon Diggs to the Texans. Originally, I said that they needed a wide receiver to take them over the top, a big name, and Stephon Diggs is a big name. He didn't have his best year in Buffalo, but that can be due to let's call them external sources outside of the organization. And this is huge for them. Originally gave them an A-. They got a wide out. I was thinking they would go draft with that since they got their first round picks. But Stephon Diggs, and you didn't have to give up really much of anything but a second rounder next year. You couldn't have asked for anything more. This is easily an A+ of an offseason. The additions of Joe Mixon, hopefully the resurgence in health of Tank Dell, CJ Stroud's continual emergence is setting up the Texans to be the team to go try to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. So your offseason grade is a solid A+. The Indianapolis Colts, a team that very much could have made the playoffs last year. They are a team that, in fact, they had a backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. Last year, damn near made it. Speaks to the testament of that really great coaching staff by Shane Steichen. They picked up Joe Flacco as a backup. They were able to re-sign a Michael Pittman, able to get, able to bring in a Trey Sermon. But I couldn't go over the Colts without shouting out VSU's own Kenny Moore. signing a 3-year deal worth $30 million. Re-signing him. Congrats to VSU grad. Went into the Athletic Hall of Fame here for VSU back in January. Very happy for him. Very, very happy for him because coming from D2, undrafted, able to get himself the bag, is awesome. But for the Colts, not bad at all of an offseason. I'll give this a B+.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Because you re-signed Kenny Moore to that big deal, I might go to an A-. Maybe. I'm not going to be courteous to the next team we're going to talk about, and that's Jacksonville Jaguars. They were a team that very much were like the Titans the year before. Big lead in the division. Really just had to, close things out, make sure you get there. And they collapsed. They collapsed heavy, losing their last 4, missing the playoffs completely. A catastrophic end to the season. They spent this offseason boofing up the O-line, getting a Mitch Morris, a Blake Hentz, along with Ariza Cleveland. They also were able to go receiving wise. They lose Calvin Ridley, who I will get to in a minute, with their rival of the Titans. But they do pick up a Gabe Davis from Buffalo, along with a backup quarterback in one Mac Jones. The Colts, got the praise for, able to survive in, adversity. The Jacksonville Jaguars, succumbed to that adversary last year. And pressure is mounting right now for the Jags. And don't get me wrong, Doug Peterson is a way better coach than Urban Meyer was, and that goes without saying. But they have to figure out a way to realize the potential for Trevor Lawrence. And not only that, but they have to, capitalize on this window. Josh Allen also got re-signed as well. The other Josh Allen. Able to pick up a Ronald Darby and a Darnell Savage. Look, what really matters to me is the fact that, you guys need to interior up that defense. Secondary, I think, could have used a guy like a Kenny Moore, especially at nickel. But I will give this a solid grade of a C.
Okay.
Yeah, C. Tennessee Titans. Y'all infuriate me to a high degree. This was an awful season for you guys. Pretty much the end of an era. You get rid of Ryan Tannehill. You bring in a Mason Rudolph, which is a downgrade of epic proportions. You guys pick up a Tony Pollard, which is okay. You get a Lloyd Cushenberry, which is all right for offensive line help. Sebastian Joseph is all right. Kenneth Murray is all right. Awuzie is a really good pickup in the secondary, along with L'Jarius Sneed. You guys pick up Nick Folk. Chisel Dodonis loves that. And if you know. But the one thing that really doesn't make any sense is Calvin Ridley. You sign him to a 4-year deal worth $92 million, which includes $50 million guaranteed. You guys know that you could have paid AJ Brown that type of money, because I believe he wanted 25 million guaranteed. Jay, I got to fact check that, but come on. How do you not do that, y'all? How in the world does a guy like Calvin really deserves that type of money, who had a significantly worse season than AJ Brown, coming off of that, coming out at the same time? Come on. Calvin Ridley in no way at any point was a better receiver than an AJ Brown. So for for people, like, well, what were the numbers, going into, each season and all that fun stuff. So I'll give you for last year for Calvin Ridley. In 17 games played, he had 76 catches for 1,016 yards and 8 touchdowns, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Isn't a terrible pickup. Now in 2021, AJ Brown was injured. As a caveat in here, he had statistically one of his worst years in 2021. He only had, if I can pull this back up again, he had 869 yards, 5 touchdowns in 13 games played. So obviously, he was very much missing his time. But also, if you just want to go off of last year alone, his second season in Philadelphia, how about he had 106 catches, which is the career high, 1,456 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Like, come on. I mean, you seriously can't be. I mean, you can't be serious, because Calvin Ridley, yes, in his first season in Jacksonville and only season in Jacksonville, he was okay. And that was his, only season in Jacksonville, because he was suspended all of last year due to the gambling situation. Him and Shohei Ohtani are alike, but that's a conversation for another day. Calvin Ridley in his best season was 1,374 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2020, where he played in 15 games and caught 90 passes. That's his best season. His only other 1,000-yard season, that was it. This was the second time he's crossed 1,000 yards. Now, Calvin Ridley isn't a terrible wide receiver, I mean, any stretch, but he's not at that same caliber as AJ Brown, because I guarantee you, AJ Brown would have been a better spot here to pay. You don't trade in AJ Brown. Thank you. On behalf of all Eagles fans, thank you very much. And just for that, that is tanking your grade. And that is going to take you down to a C-, because you all fumbled the bag. Like, you fumbled the bag. And also, you give Tony Pollard 3 years and $24 million when a Derrick Henry signs for a 2-year and $16 million deal. Like, come on. Like, y'all free agent moves suck. Like, it's a C- at best, but honestly, I'm gonna go D+. Like, your offseason sucks. You're probably gonna have the number 1 overall pick. Denver Broncos.
Country.
You guys infuriate me as well. You guys are getting my wrath of fury. So you guys cut Russell Wilson with no contingency plan. Like, seriously, who is going to back him up? I mean, who is going to seriously start for the Broncos? If I'm not mistaken, they don't have a first-round pick this year, and that still goes to Seattle, if I am not mistaken. And you cut Russell Wilson, who wasn't the issue, but here's the thing. Why, you're like, well, Chris, what do you mean by that he had he wasn't the issue? Well, I can tell you why they don't he wasn't the issue. Now, he was significantly better than where he was in 2022, without a doubt. And that's what happens when you change from Nathaniel Hackett, who was a hack-at as a head coach. You exchange him for a Sean Payton, who knows a thing or two about quarterbacks. Despite the fact that they had the fact that they were, they had 70 points hanged on them this year. The fact that, despite of the inconsistency on defense, they absolutely, could have folded in again. However, they were able to rally. They were able to get to a serious point where they could make the playoffs. And yes, falling that falling that far sucks. And let's and I look here in the draft order. You know what? I'll gladly say that I'm wrong. You have the 12th overall pick. I can guarantee you a Jaden Daniels, a Caleb Williams, a Drake May is gone at this point. Even a guy like JJ McCarthy is probably gone as well. Like he's probably gone as well. Like there's no sense of direction with it. Obviously, you're going to get a quarterback. Now, if you trade up, with a team like maybe New England, maybe we can talk, but, your offseason sucks thus far. You get rid of Justin Simmons. That sucks. Again, this offseason just sucks. Like you sign, you re-sign guys like Little Jordan Humphrey, Adam Trautman gets re-signed. Your only really major thing you did was get Malcolm Roach. Like you get Will Lutz to re-sign. Like, come on, man. Like this offseason sucks for y'all. Grade F.
Shameful display!
Kansas City Chiefs. The class of the NFL, the 2-time Super Bowl champions, and something about Taylor Swift. I can't stand this team. I really can't. But they're able to re-sign Chris Jones. They traded away L'Jarius Sneed, which I think is questionable. So I could see them going corner in this next draft. They were able to pick up Marquise Brown. I like Irv Smith backing up Travis Kelce. Deion Bush is a decent option. The fact that you're able to get Chris Jones back, get him, get Chris Jones back is very huge. 5-year, $158.75 million, 101 in guarantees. Man, that's good money. I like what they're, able to do in terms of bringing them back. I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City went and got a guy like Odell Beckham Jr., just to add to the media circus that's going to become. But Kansas City, you still have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. So that's already like an A in my book. But this offseason, solid enough. I'll give it a C.
Okay.
Let's go with the Las Vegas Raiders. You lose Josh Jacobs, which sucks. You're going to replace him with Alexander Madison, which is like Amir Abdullah is going to come back. Gardner Minshew is looking like your quarterback of the future, which isn't really bright. They are another team that is going to be a maybe quarterback country. Maybe they go after a quarterback this coming draft. And, Shaka's in that and Gardner Minshew is the backup because there's no way you're going to start the year with Gardner Minshew. Right? Gardner Minshew was good in spots, but I was like full season, like that's not going to be good. Like, it's just not good at all. Like, I just do not like that at all. Like, at all. So, we are going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers to wrap up the AFC West. Now, your offseason, infuriates me like Denver's does, but even more so, you able to get restructured contracts with one Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, which is great. You were able to, which is fine. But then when you lose guys like a Austin Eckler to Washington, you lose a Mike Williams to the Jets. You trade, you trade away Keenan Allen to the Bears, which is like, what? And I mean, on top of all of that, you get a flashy hire in Jim Harbaugh, which I think is great and all, but, you're not doing anything to establish, and to give confidence to Justin Herbert, who was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, when he's on the field, mind you, the assurance of saying, hey, we're going to get you weapons because Quentin Johnson will be the number one receiver on this team. And he's your starting wide. That sucks. Like, none of your moves move me. You infuriate me the most because when you try to restructure a deal with Keenan Allen coming off of statistically his best season, you know, it isn't going to go well. Like, honestly. Again, I hate it. Hate the move. So you guys are also going to get an F grade. Like this.
Shameful display!
Now we are going to shift gears. What's going on, y'all? This is the Enforcer, Chris Mercer. Recording this the first time around took like an hour. So this is the conclusion of part 1 of the AFC report card. Coming up tomorrow will be the NFC report card. I am definitely excited to have all of these officially recorded and out. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. As always, if you can't take the heat, but you think you can survive the Inferno. Yo, Craig, say something to the people.
Bye, Felicia.